Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for today's video, we're going to try to answer and assess the chapter 9 packet tracer in the NetAcad. So this packet tracer activity entitled TCP and UDP communication. So there are two objectives in this activity, which is part 1 is generate network traffic in simulation mode. Then part 2 examine the functionality of the TCP and UDP protocols. So background of this activity is this simulation activity is intended to provide a foundation for understanding the TCP and UDP in detail. Simulation mode provides the ability to view the functionality of different protocols. As data moves through the network, it, it is broken down into smaller pieces and identified in some fashion on the pieces can be put back together. Each these pieces is assigned a specific name, protocol, data, unit PDU, and associated with a specific layer. Packet tracer simulation mode enables to view each of the protocols and the associated PDU. The steps outlined below lead the user through the process of requesting services use various applications available on the client PC. This activity provides an opportunity to explore the functionality of the TCP and the UDP protocols, multiplexing, and the function of the port number in determining which local application requests the data or is sending the data. So part 1, generate network traffic in simulation mode. So step 1, generate a traffic to populate the address resolution protocol ARP. So perform the following task to reduce the amount of network traffic viewed in simulation. A, click on the multi-server. So this is the multi-server. Then enter, and then we're going to command prompt, then enter ping, and then we're going to ping 192.168.1.255. So this will take a few seconds as every device on the network responds to multi-server. So close the multi-server window. So let's just first wait. So this multi-server will ping in the multi-server, and all of the devices here will be ping. So as you can see here in the replies, so there are different IP address of the different desktop PC. So next is so we're going to close the multi-server window. Next is to generate web HTTP traffic. So switch to simulation mode. We're going to switch in the simulation mode. Then click HTTP client and click the desktop tab, web browser. So HTTP client. So let's proceed to web browser. And then in the URL field, enter 192.168.1.254 and click go. So let's do this. Enter here and then go. And then envelope PDUs will appear in the simulation window. Minimize but do not close the HTTP client configuration window. So as you can see here in our HTTP client, so a PDU is generated. So the next thing we need to do is to generate FTP traffic. So click the FTP client and click the desktop tab and go to command prompt. So desktop tab, then command prompt. So the next thing we will do here is to enter the FTP FTP and then 192.168.1.254, and then PDU will appear in the simulation window. So let's see if it's appear. So here the PDU will appear in the client FTP client. So next is minimize but do not close the FTP client configuration window. Next is to generate DNS traffic. So click the DNS client and click the desktop tab and we'll go proceed to the command prompt also. Then command prompt, and then what we're going to do here is to enter the ns lookup multi-server .pt.ptu, and then let's see if a PDU will appear in the simulation window. So that's it. So it's appear here, and minimize but do not close the DNS client configuration window. Next is to generate an email traffic. So click in the email client and then click the desktop tab and then email tool. So desktop tab, and let's find the email. So here's the email tool. Then click compose and enter the following information. So here is our information that we need to enter here. Then our subject, then our body, then click send, then minimize but do not close. So as you can see, a PDU is generated in the email client. So next is verify that the traffic is generated and ready for simulation. So every client computer should have PDUs listed in the simulation panel. So part 2 is examine functionality of the TCP and UDP protocols. So step 1, examine multiplexing as all of the traffic crosses the network. You will now use the capture forward button and the back button in the simulation panel. Click capture forward once. All of the PDUs are transferred to the switch. So let's click let's click this capture forward once. So that's it. As you can see, all of the PDUs is transferred from the switch. So click captured forward again. So click again. And then what do you think happened? Some of the PDUs disappear. So what do you think happened to them? So obviously the other PDUs disappear because they are stored inside this switch. So and one PDUs is received by the multi-server, and here is remain in the switch. So next is to uh, click the capture forward 6 times. All clients who have received a reply. Note that only the PDU can cross a wire in each direction at any given time. So let's click the capture forward 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, and 6. So the question is what is this called? So this is called the multiplexing. So a variety of PDU appears in the event list in the upper right pane of the simulation window. Why are they so many different colors? So as you can see here in the right part pane, there are different box colored. So this means that each color represent different type of protocol. So for example, this is the TCP, which represent the blue green color. So DNS protocol, which represents the brown box, and then the violet is the SMTP, which is our email client. So that's it. So what we're going to do next is to click back 8 times. This should reset the simulation. Do not click reset simulation at any time during this activity. If you do, you will need to repeat the steps in part 1. So we should not click the reset simulation, but we just need to go back 8 times. So let's count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in step 2, examine the HTTP traffic as the clients communicate with the server. So filter the traffic that is currently displayed to display only HTTP and TCP PDUs. Filter the traffic that is currently displayed. So click the edit filter and toggle the show all none checkbox. So click the here we're going to click the sorry click the edit filters and toggle the show all none box, and then select HTTP and TCP. So we're just going to select here, or we're going to check the HTTP. Where is it? Mm, the HTTP and then the TCP. So once we done that, select the HTTP, click anywhere outside of the edit filter box to hide it. So the visible should now display. So here, the visible events list should be HTTP and then TCP. And then click capture forward. Hold your mouse above each of the PDU until you find one of the originates from the HTTP clients. So click the PDU envelope to open it. So we're going to click the capture forward one time. Then we're going to identify uh, until we find the one that originate from the HTTP client. So this is from email client, and this is from the FTP client. So what we're going to do here is to click here and then until you find no, this is not that we want, and click again the capture forward. And 1, 2, here. What we're going to do here is to click the inbound PDU details and tab scroll down to last section. So what section is labeled? So here, this section is labeled as TCP, as you can see here. So are this communication considered reliable? So of course, the TCP is the reliable communication. So next is record the SRC port, destination port, and sequence num and ACK num values. So this is the source port 1025, destination port which is 21, sequence number 0, the acknowledgement number 0, and so that's it, the information here. So what we're going to do next is to right what is written in the field to the left of the window field. So this is the left window field, so it is written here 1025, and the port is 21, then so that's it. Next is close Close the PDU and click captured forward until the PDU returns to the HTTP client with checkmark. Again, let's check capture forward, then capture forward. Let's wait, then let's wait. So, okay. So, click the PDU envelope and select the inbound PDUs. So, we're going to check the inbound PDUs. And then, how are the ports and sequence number different than before? So, as you can see here, the source port now is 80 and the destination port is 125. So, the source and the destination ports are reversed, and the acknowledgement number is now 1, and thus and the sign is now an ACK. So that's it. So next is there is a second PDU on a different color, which HTTP client has prepared to send to multi-server. So this is the beginning of the HTTP communication. So click this second PDU envelope and select the outbound PDU details. So this is the envelope which has the different color. Gonna click this and then outbound PDU. And what information is now listed in the TCP section? So how are the port and the sequence numbers different from the previous two PDU? So now this is the source port 1025 and the destination is 80, sequence number is 1, acknowledge number is 1, and then so that's it. So the source destination ports and are reversed, and both sequence and acknowledgement now numbers are 1. So as you can see, both numbers are equals to 1. So next that we need to do is click back until the simulation is reset. So we're going to click back and then back and back again. Okay, then step 3, examine the FTP traffic as the client communicate with the server. So in the simulation panel, change edit filter to display only FTP and TCP. So we're going to edit filter. Edit filter. And what we're going to choose now is only the FTP and the TCP. So here is the TCP, and the FTP should be here. So TCP and FTP. Then you can see here in our event list, visible event, it is FTP and TCP. So next is click capture forward. Then hold your cursor about HPDU until you find one that originates from the FTP client. So click capture forward. Let's wait. So here, so this PDU is originates from the FTP client. So click the inbound PDU details. Here are the inbound PDU details, and tab and scroll down to the last section. So what is the section labeled? So it is labeled as TCP. So are these communications considered to be reliable? So of course TCP is the most reliable communications. So next is record the source the source port, destination port, sequence number, and the AKNUM values. So this is our source port, the destination is 21, sequence number is 0, and the acknowledgement number is 0 values. And what is so that is written in the field to the left window in the field. So close the PDU and click capture forward until it returns to the FTP client with check mark. So let's click the capture forward until it returns here in the FTP client. Check again, then capture forward again, captured forward, and okay. Then next is click the PDU envelope and select inbound details. Then we're going to choose the inbound details. Then the next question here is click the PDU man. How are how are the port and the sequence number different than before? So this is our source port and the destination port, then the sequence number and acknowledgement number. So as you can see, the source and destination ports are reversed, and the acknowledgement number is 1. So next is let's proceed to G. Click the outbound PDU details tab. And then how are the port and sequence number different from the previous two results? So as you can see, the source and the destination ports are reversed, and both of the sequence and acknowledgement numbers are 1. So next is to age. Close the PDU and click captured forward until a second PDU returns to the FTP client. The PDU is in the different color. So let's capture forward, and then captured forward, then going to click again until a different color PDU is returned to FTP client. So here, this is a different color of the PTP client. So what we're going to do here is to open the PDU and then select the inbound PDU details. So inbound PDU detail and scroll down past the TCP section. What is the message from the server? So the message here is welcome to PT FTP server. So it may say either username okay or need password or welcome to PTP server, just like this. And then what we're going to do next is to click back until the simulation is reset again. So just going to click back until the simulation will reset. Okay. So step 4, examine the DNS traffic as the client communication with the server. So in the simulation panel, change edit to display only DNS and UDP. So we're going to change it the protocol again. Then we're going just to choose the DNS and the UDP. So let's find it, the UDP and the DNS. So click the PDU envelope to open it. So what we're going to do here is to click capture forward, and then we're going to check the inbound PDU details tab and scroll down to the last section. So it is a UDP section. So are this communication considered to be reliable? So obviously UDP is not a reliable communication rather than the TCP. So next is record the source port. Oh, sorry. Let's click it again. So the source port here is 11025. The destination port is 53. And why is there no sequence and acknowledgement number? Because the UDP does not need to establish a reliable connection. So that is the difference between the TCP and the UDP, because the TCP has a sequence number and acknowledgement number, so the communication is more reliable than the UDP, because the UDP is not required to have a sequence number and acknowledgement number, so it is not reliable communication. So next is next is close the PDU and click capture forward until the PDU returns to the DNS client with checkmark. So let's click the capture forward until an PDU is returned to the DNS client with a checkmark. I'm going to click again, and then so that's it. So click the PDU envelope and select the inbound PDU details. Inbound PDU details. So how are the port sequence number different than before? So now the our source port is 53 and our destination port is 1025. So just like that. So before our destination port is 53 and our source port is 1025. So the source and the destination port are reversed. So the next is what is the last section of the PDU called? So the last section of the PDU is called the DNS, and click back until the section is reset. So we're going to click back again until the simulation is reset. One. So okay. Then next is in the simulation panel, change edit filters to display only PO POP3 and SMTP and TCP. Then we're going to edit filters again. Then show all none. And what we are going to choose here is to display only the POP3. So where is it? Uh, SMTP. So is the TCP, SMTP, and I can find the PO3. So just wait for it. So this is the POP3. Then we're going to exit. As you can see here in the event list, so it is just display the POP3 and the SMTP and the TCP. So again, we're going to click the captured forward and hold your cursor above each PDU until we find the one that originates from the email client. So capture forward. So let's find in these two PDUs which originate from the email client. No, so this one. Then we're going to click it and check for the inbound PDU details. So scroll down to the last section. So what transport layer protocols does the email use? So it is TCP, of course. And then are this communication considered reliable? Of course, TCPs are reliable. And Next is to record the source port, destination port, sequence num, and AK num. So the source port is 1025, the destination port is 20, the sequence number is 0, and the acknowledgement number is 0. So what is written in the field to the left of the window field? So this is the one that is written 125, 25, 0, 0. That's it. And next is close the PDU. Going to close the PDU and select the and click the capture forward until the PDU returns to the email client with check mark. So we're going to click the capture forward until an PDU is returned to the email client with a check mark. So we're waiting for the PDU to come from the email client. So that's it. Then what we're going to do next is F. Click the PDU envelope and select the inbound PDU details. So we're going to check inbound PDU details. So it is labeled as TCP. Here's our source port, destination port, and sequence number is 0, acknowledgement number is 1. So how are the port and the sequence number different than before? So the source and the destination ports are reversed, and the acknowledgement number is now value is 1. Just like a while, not from like a while ago, it is 0. So next is there is a second PDU on a different color that HTTP client has to prepare to send a multi-server. This is the beginning of the email communication. So click the second PDU envelope in the and select outbound PDU details. So we're going to select here and the outbound PDU details. So how are the ports and the sequence number different from the previous PDUs? So here's our port and the destination port 25, sequence number and acknowledgement number is both 1. So here the source and the destination port are reversed and both sequence and acknowledgement number are 1. So next, where are we? What email protocol is associated with the TCP port 25? What protocol is associated with TCP port 110? So these protocols associated, it is a SMTP and the POP3. So that's it. Then next is to examine the use of the port numbers from the server. So to see TCP active session performs the following step in a quick succession. Switch back to real-time mode. So now we will switch back to real-time mode. And then click the multi-server and click the desktop tab and the command prompt. And we're going to type here the netstat. Netstat. So what protocols are listed in the left column? So here is listed, you can see the protocol is the TCP. What port numbers are being used by the server? So the port number being used here is the 21, as you can see here. Sometimes it could be 25 or 21 and 80. So next is enter the netstat command. So we're done there. Repeat the netstat command several times until you see only one session still established. So for which Net stat net. Then only one session is still established. So let's here, as you can see, there are only one established. So for which service is the connection still open? Repeat the restart. And why doesn't this session close like the other three? So hint, check the minimize client. So the server is waiting for the password from the client. So that's why this session closed like the other three. So okay, that's it. So that's it. Think we're done here in this packet tracer activity. So that's it for today's video, and I hope you like it. And please like and share and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.